Hi, I'm Betsy. Welcome back to my kitchen. So when I owned the bakery, at times things would get slow and we would have to entertain ourselves. And one of the things we would do is try to guess what you were going to order before you walked in the door. And what I learned by doing that is men are pretty predictable, and they would walk in and, assuming they were by themselves, not with their wives, they would buy one of several things: chocolate chip cookies, 7-layer bar, or peanut butter cookies. Not always, but it was pretty safe to say they were going to get one of those in their order. So my peanut butter cookie recipe is actually one my dad used to make. We had this cookbook when I was growing up, and it was just a cookie book. And I would show it to you, but there's no cover anymore. The thing is so dilapidated. But that was kind of what was our base for cookies growing up. And in there was this peanut butter cookie recipe, and my dad used to make the peanut butter cookies in our house. And I will say he made his smaller than I'm going to show you how to make. I make the traditional size because I use the scoop. But this cookie is so phenomenal because on the outside it gets just nice and crispy and dry, and on the inside it's still just a little bit moist and cakey. So I think it's the perfect peanut butter cookie. So I'm going to show you how to make it. So for this recipe we need 1 cup of salted butter. Like always, it's been sitting out for a couple hours on my counter. To that, we're going to add 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. And with brown sugar, we pack it into the cup. Then we're going to add 1 cup of peanut butter. I read an article once talking about who likes creamy and who likes crunchy peanut butter, and it's based on where you live in the country. It doesn't matter to me which one you like. I'm going to go with crunchy because that's what I like. If you like creamy, go ahead. I can only tell you that I think these cookies turn out phenomenal with crunchy peanut butter. So I'm going to get that into a cup, get it all leveled off, and then add it to my batter. I'm going to get that on the mixer, get it all blended together. When that's all mixed in, I'm going to scrape it down and I'm going to add 2 eggs. And I will get that blended again. Okay, once that's all evenly creamed together, we're going to add a few dry ingredients. I need 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Finally, I'm going to add 2.5 cups of flour. Okay, once I see that it's all blended, when I make cookies, everything's blended, but I'm going to give it about 10 seconds of really good mixing. That's kind of a rule of thumb for me. Now I know everything's really well blended. So then I'm going to do 1 last scrape down of the sides to make sure I haven't missed anything. I'd hate to get to the bottom and find a little butter or find a chunk of peanut butter. This one looks pretty well blended. So that's it. That's my peanut butter cookie dough. So, like all my cookies, I ball them up ahead of time. I use my scoop. Ball up the tray. I would get this whole tray all made up. This particular recipe is going to make about, here's the thing. I made the recipe and calculated out the number of cookies, but I might have eaten a little cookie dough. So when I did it that time, it made 27 cookies. You might get 1 or 2 more, and then you're going to know how much cookie dough I ate. But you'll get about 27 balls of cookie dough. I pop them in the freezer, and then whenever I'm ready to bake them off, I grab them out of the freezer, turn the oven on to 350. By the time it takes the oven to warm up, the cookies are thawed enough. Now, the one thing I will tell you though is when you make peanut butter cookies, they get an X on them. So you will take this ball, when you're ready to put these in the oven, you'll space them out, and you need to grab a fork. And you take a little bit of flour. Peanut butter cookies are notorious for the X on top. So you put the X in. The first one is always going to be sticky, but then once you go back in the flour, you'll never have a problem again. You put an X on top and you flatten it down a little bit. And once they've been out of the freezer for about 30 minutes, 15 minutes, you'll be able to do that. Put the X on them. Pop these in the oven for 15 minutes at 350 and they will come out perfect. They get a little brown around the edge, which is exactly how I like them, and they are so incredibly delicious. So these are the finished product. These are so perfectly just brown on the edge, a little bit crunchy, they'll be a little soft in the middle. This is, in my opinion, the perfect peanut butter cookie. I hope you enjoy these as much as I did eating my dad's years ago.